To all the sons and daughters of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, spiritually and physically, good afternoon.
Afternoon, brother.
And welcome to the Israel of God here in Baton Rouge, where we teach the Bible by subject and title. Today, brothers and sisters, we're going to have a look at some information and some prophecy, okay? And we can go in this Bible and read that Jesus is going to come back to this earth and he's going to rule and reign on this earth. And we can look around every day. We can look out of our windows and see gunfire, rape, murder, hijacking, carjacking, massacres, embezzling, blackmail, corruption, pedophilia, sex trafficking. And we can even see people blaspheming the Holy Ghost. Okay? So that will make a person say, okay, so in the earth's current condition, how can the Lord come back and live here?
Right.
What's going to change? Well, he's going to come and clean this place up. Because he can't abide here until he does that. But the cleaning up is going to be an ugly thing. That's why the title of today's lesson is That Great and Terrible Day. Okay? It's going to be great and it's going to be terrible as well. And we're going to start today's lesson in Jeremiah chapter 30. Because, somebody might say, I'll be glad when the Lord come back. Somebody might just say that. But after we read today,
right,
you're not going to say that again.
No, that's right.
You're gonna put some energy in getting your house in order.
Yes, sir.
So you'll be found clean. So he'll hide you when he come back and start handling that business, okay? Because no one is ready to witness what is about to happen when the Lord come back and split them clouds wide open, okay? So after today's lesson, we hope somebody will be moved to make a few changes and adjustments, okay? And so they'll be prepared for that day. So let's start Jeremiah 30, Brother Todd, and let's pick it up at that first verse, 30 and verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord God of Israel, saying, Write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book.
Okay, so the Lord came to Jeremiah and said, everything I say to you, write it in a book. And we can go read it. We can read Jeremiah, okay? So now skip down, Brother Todd, to verse 5 and continue.
For thus said the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear and not of peace.
He said, we've heard a voice of trembling, because when you hear this stuff, somebody should get a little bit more fear. Okay? Go ahead and read.
Ask ye now, and see whether a man does travail with child.
So does a man give birth to babies? No. Men don't give birth to babies. He said, ask ye now and see whether a man does travail with child. Go ahead and read.
Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness.
So the reason that question was asked, why are these men running around like a woman giving birth in some serious pain, okay? In anguish. Go ahead and read.
Alas, for that day is great.
Yes.
So that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it.
Because this day is coming, brothers and sisters, the great tribulation, and on the back end of that great tribulation that the Lord going to put on his earth, it's going to be about a half a year of trouble that the Lord is going to bring himself. Okay? So now let's go to Zephaniah chapter 1. Zephaniah 1. The title of this lesson is That Great and Terrible Day. Zephaniah, Brother Todd, chapter 1. And we're going to pick it up at the 14th verse. Zephaniah 14 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
The great day of the Lord is near. It is near and hasted greatly.
Yes.
Even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly.
See, that's why the men running around in travail like a woman that's giving birth. He said, the great day of the Lord is near. Go ahead and read.
That day is a day of wrath.
It's a day of wrath.
A day of trouble and distress. A day of wasteness and desolation. A day of darkness and gloominess. A day of clouds and thick darkness. A day of the trumpet an alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers.
So we already got a whole lot of descriptive words that we're just not ready for. As a whole, if you just imagine Baton Rouge, this one city being under these conditions, the whole city's in trouble, under distress, wasteness, desolation, darkness, gloominess, clouds. It already said darkness, right?
Indeed.
Then it turned and said thick darkness.
That's right.
With all that trouble going on, you can't even see in front of you. Okay? Go ahead and read.
And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord. And their blood shall be poured out as dust.
Yes.
And their flesh as the dung.
Now this is the Lord saying he's going to bring distress on men. Why? Because they've been sinning against him, okay? And he's coming back here to live. He's got to clean it up. Go ahead and read.
Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath.
That's right.
But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land.
So now let's go to Matthew chapter 24 and let Jesus put something on our mind. But it says right here that your silver and your gold won't be able to deliver you. That means your money ain't going to buy you out of this trouble. The only currency you going to have is some righteousness. That's going to be your currency.
That's right.
It's righteousness. Money and silver ain't going to get it. So now, let's go. They asked Jesus, Matthew 24 and verse 3. Let's go ahead and read it. Go ahead.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you.
That is right. Go ahead.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
Because many's going to come in the name of Jesus. They're going to use that name, Jesus, and then they're going to bring forth a deception and deceive you and say things like you don't have to keep a law. You don't have to keep any of these dietary laws, and you don't have to keep Sabbath, and you don't have to keep feast days, okay? They're going to come with that, but they're going to still use the same name you use. Go ahead and read.
And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
That's right.
For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places.
You see, we've been going through a pestilence for about the last year and a half. We've been hearing about earthquakes and wars and kingdoms against kingdoms, but all these things been happening since the beginning of man. But go ahead and read.
All these are the beginning of sorrow.
And right now, I'm telling you, these are the beginning of sorrows. But skip down to verse 14 and continue.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations.
So this gospel is going to be preached as a witness against who, brother?
Unto all nations.
So is there anybody that's going to be able to stand before the Lord when he come back and say, I didn't hear this? Never heard that. Who going to be able to say that?
Nobody.
So when you out there preaching to your coworker and you showing them some stuff and they say, what about my mom or my dad? You can be kind with what you say, but in my head, I be thinking, hey, somebody brought it to them at some point.
Right.
Somebody opened the book and showed it to them. Otherwise, this Bible is not telling you the whole truth. It's going to be a witness against everybody, or it's going to be a witness on your behalf. You can have your choice how you want this Bible to go for you, as a witness or as on your behalf. Okay? Go ahead and finish that.
And then shall the end come. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation.
So Jesus said, when you see the abomination of desolation, go ahead.
Spoken of by Daniel the prophet. Stand in the holy place. Whoso read it, let him understand.
So Jesus not even going to explain to you what the abomination of desolation is. He say Daniel wrote about it, and if you read it, hope you got some understanding from it. And he just kept on talking, didn't he?
That's it.
He didn't even explain it to you, because you should have read Daniel. Go ahead and read.
Then let them which be in Judea flee unto the mountains.
So now we're looking at how urgent this thing is when you hear about the abomination of desolation, stand in the holy place. Go ahead and read.
Let him which is on the housetop
If you on top of your house,
not come down to take anything out of his house.
you better get going. Go ahead and read.
Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
If you at the job, ride on past the house. Just get going to wherever it is you got to go. Okay? Go ahead and read.
And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day.
Why, brother?
For then shall be great tribulation,
Because that great tribulation is coming. Go ahead.
such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
So that tribulation gonna come. It's gonna last 3.5 years. But them first 3 years, the beast and the false prophet is gonna run it, and they gonna make war with the saints. And the book say he's gonna prosper, and he's gonna kill a whole bunch of God-serving people. Okay, we can read that. But on the back end of that 3.5 years, here come Jesus. Now he's bringing the trouble. He's gonna bring it. So let's skip down to verse 29 and continue.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened,
Yes.
and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven.
But we already read Zephaniah says it's going to be there darkness and gloominess and thick darkness, right?
Right.
So Jesus telling you it's going to be dark out here too. Everybody in this book say the same thing. Go ahead and read it.
And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
Wait. All the tribes of the earth going to mourn when they see Jesus split those clouds?
That's right.
Why? Because you've been playing church or mosque or whatever you've been playing. But all the tribes of the earth going to mourn when they see him split them clouds. Go ahead and read.
And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Yes, sir.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a
Now,
trumpet.
this is the second time we've heard about a trumpet being blown. Because when kings come, does not trumpets announce their coming?
They do.
That's why we have a feast day called the Memorial Blowing of the Trumpets. All these feast days the Bible tells us to keep and observe, brothers and sisters, are dealing with God's plan for mankind. These trumpets are letting you know that 7 trumpets going to blow, and after every trumpet blow, it's going to be a vial of wrath poured on this earth. We're going to read it today. But these man-made holidays have nothing, and I'm talking a capital N, nothing to do with the God of this Bible. The feast days we observe tell you his plan, and trumpets is one of them. Okay? But the ones that they got you keeping that you can't find in this book have nothing to do with it. But did you finish that, brother?
No, we
Go
better.
ahead.
And they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
And we talking earth. So now, let's go to Acts chapter 2. Let's pick it up at verse 17. Acts 2 and 17. And it's going to seem like we reading the same thing over and over because we will be. Because everybody in this Bible say the same thing. Somebody somewhere along the line told us we just going to read between Romans and Titus. Or between Matthew and 1st, 2nd, 3rd John. Or whatever. But we read the whole Bible here because it's all one book. It's one word. The Bible say this is one word, one spirit, one God. Okay? Acts chapter 2, verse 17. Go ahead and read it.
And it shall come to pass in the last days.
In the wind?
In the last days, said God, I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh. And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy.
Yes.
And your young men shall see visions. And your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaidens I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy.
Yes.
And I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke.
Yes.
The sun shall be turned into darkness.
Okay, so now here comes this darkness again. Go ahead.
And the moon into blood before that great and notable day of the Lord comes.
So it said that day is going to be great and notable, okay? Very notable at that. One more verse, brother.
And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved.
So a person would actually think if they just call on the name of the Lord, that's all you have to do. They would think that, right? But let's go look at something. Let's go Romans 10. Let's get on this shoulder for a short second, then we'll get back on the road. Romans 10, brother, let's pick it up at verse 13. 10 and 13. We see, we keep reading about that darkness. It's coming. Romans 10 and verse 13, brother. Go ahead and read it.
For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved.
So we just read that in Acts, right?
Right.
But you can go and read in 2 Corinthians 11 where Paul told you and confirmed that, hey, somebody come teaching another Jesus. They teaching you another Jesus. So which one do you have? You have the one in this book, or do you have one of those other ones? Go ahead and read.
How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed?
You ain't never believed in the Sabbath day Jesus, but he's the one in this book. Go ahead and read.
And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard?
You ain't never heard of the memorial blowing of the trumpets Jesus. Huh? Go ahead and read.
And how shall they hear without a preacher?
And you got to have somebody that's going to come show it to you. And the Lord going to send them to you as a witness against you or on your behalf. Okay? They coming. Okay? So now, let's move on. Let's go into Proverbs 28. Because the Jesus of this Bible, he kept the law and the commandments and the feast days and the Sabbath. And that's what he want us to do. But you run into people, oh, you know, we ain't got to keep them laws. You know, that's Old Testament. It's been done away with. Really? We already read Zephaniah say the Lord is going to come back on the day of the Lord. That hasn't happened yet. So how can we put Zephaniah to rest? How can we put his writings to bed when he wrote something that hasn't happened? And we're going to read about in Jeremiah, the first place we hit. Okay? So now, Proverbs 28 and 9. Go ahead and read it.
He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination.
If you turn your ear away from hearing the law, your prayer is abomination. The Lord ain't going to hear you. Huh? How is it that you turn your ear away from hearing this word and from walking in it, and then you think you're going to call on the Lord and he got some kind of salvation for you? You fooling yourself. So now, that's the proof. So now let's go 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians 15. Because you have to do this thing yourself. 1 Corinthians 15, Brother Todd, just one verse, verse 34. 15 and 34, because we just read, if you turn your ear away from hearing the law, your prayer is an abomination unto the Lord. That means that you don't want to be righteous and keep the commandments of the Lord. Go ahead and read it.
Awake to righteousness.
He says, awake to righteousness.
And sin not.
And sin not. Go ahead.
For some have not the knowledge of God. I speak this to your shame.
So now, he's telling you, if you're going to awake to righteousness, then you can't sin. Okay? And the definition of sin is breaking the commandments of God. We can go read that, 1 John 3 and 4. That's the definition of sin, transgression of these laws, okay? So when he tell you to seek after righteousness and sin not, it's the same thing. He just reworded another way. So now, let's go into Deuteronomy 6 and 25. We just saw it here in the New Testament. He says, seek after righteousness and sin not. Let's let Moses tell us what righteousness is. Deuteronomy 6. Let's pick it up at 24. Let's go Deuteronomy 6, verse 24 and 25. Go ahead and read that.
And the Lord commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God.
Yes.
For our good always, that he might preserve us alive, as it is at this day.
Go ahead.
And it shall be our righteousness, if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God, as he hath commanded us.
Now, so let's go in Isaiah chapter 13. So Moses made it plain and simple right here. Your righteousness is to do the commandments of the Lord, which, by the way, as I stated earlier, that's going to be your currency when the Lord come back and start tearing this earth up. Money and gold will not be your currency that's going to save you from the Lord. And we read that. What you will be able to have is some righteousness and some good works, okay? Some obedience. That's what he's going to look at. So now, Isaiah chapter 13, we've been reading about this darkness and this gloominess and these trumpets. Let's continue. Isaiah 13 and verse 6, my brother, 13 and 6. Go ahead and read it.
Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand.
Yes, sir. So again, we talking about the day of the Lord, which is a period of about 5-6 months, okay? It's not a day. Some people call tomorrow the day of the Lord. Some people do. Don't they say that? The day of the Lord is going to be about 5-6 months, okay? A period of just a whole lot of chaos going on. Go ahead and read.
It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty.
From who?
From the Almighty.
Destruction from God. Go ahead and read.
Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt.
Go ahead.
And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travails.
We read that 3 times, huh?
Yeah, we did.
Go ahead and read.
They shall be amazed one at another.
Yes.
Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
Y'all see that? That's we coming to clean his earth up from the one that's sin against him, okay? It's going to be a cruel day. And the title of today's lesson is That Great and Terrible Day. Because when the Lord come back, it's going to be great and terrible. Go ahead and read.
For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light.
There that darkness again. Go ahead.
The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
Go ahead.
And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity.
Go ahead.
And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
Go ahead.
I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir.
See, a man is going to be that valuable because there's going to be very few of them. We can go and read that one man going to have 7 wives. Yeah. So many of them going to be dead. There going to be no men around. But the Lord is going to do that. Go ahead and read.
Therefore I will shake the heavens.
Yes.
And the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chaste roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword.
It's going to be terrible. Go ahead.
Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them.
See, we're going to read this later on in this lesson in the 2nd chapter of Joel, but we just getting a glimpse of it right now. It's going to be terrible, brothers and sisters. Go ahead and read.
Which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
That means they coming with just straight blood on their minds, okay? And the Lord going to move them to do it. You're not going to buy your way out of this trouble. Go ahead and read.
Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children.
Can y'all imagine that? That's how bad it's going to be. So if you're wishing and trying to rush the day of the Lord to come, you might ought to backpedal away from that a little bit. Because who is ready for all this? Go ahead and read.
And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms.
Yes.
The beauty of the Chaldees' excellency.
So we can look at this here, and everybody running over into Europe and into Rome and all these other places, which is Babylon, and it says, hey, the excellency, go ahead and read.
Shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
It's going to be like when he overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah when he get through with this earth. Okay? So now let's go Psalm 99. Psalm 99, and let's start at that first verse, brother. The great and terrible day of the Lord, brothers and sisters. Let's look at something with his name. Psalm 99 and verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
The Lord reigneth.
Yes.
Let the people tremble. He sitteth between the cherubims. Let the earth be moved. The Lord is great in Zion, and he is high above all the people.
Yes.
Let them praise thy great and terrible name, for it is holy.
So we see right here, it says, let them praise his great and terrible name. And his actions going to be great and terrible too. Excuse me. So we all need to be thinking about getting our house in order. And whatever it is we need to stop doing, we need to work on stopping it. Okay? Whatever it is we need to start doing, we need to work on that. Okay? And that's where it is. And that's what this lesson should give us a reminder, that we have some terrible things coming. And that judgment is coming, y'all. The tribulation is coming. So now, let's go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Because you can go to some people and they'll say, yeah, well, you know, it says the Lord gonna come like a thief in the night. Yeah, but did you read some more verses after that verse? Huh? Just keep on reading. Read a little bit more. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, brother. Let's pick it up at verse 2. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 2. Go ahead and read it.
For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
And that is true, but go ahead and read.
For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them.
Yes.
As travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
That's about the fourth time right there, right?
Right.
Go ahead and read.
But ye, brethren, are not in darkness.
So it says, but Paul is telling these people in Thessalonica, he said, but ye, brother, you are not in this here. Go ahead and read.
That day should overtake you as a thief.
He said that day is not going to overtake you as a thief like most of us in here. It ain't going to overtake us as a thief if we're alive. Because we've been taught this book and we've been reading and studying this book. So when we look out in the world and we see all the signs and the prophecy and things that's unfolding and happening, we know it's around the corner. Go ahead and read.
Ye are all the children of light.
Yes.
And the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others.
Right.
But let us watch and be sober.
He said, let us watch and be sober. And being sober, like once we start reading this Bible, you kind of look at the world with sober eyes.
Yes, sir.
Not drunken from the bad doctrine that you got raised in. You see? You kind of looking at the world with sober eyes. Brother Todd told me that some years ago. Yeah, that soberness,
yes,
man. You looking, you can really see what's happening. So now, let's go Revelation chapter 8. Let's get into it. Revelation chapter 8, because we heard about those trumpets. We read about it earlier. Revelations 8, and let's pick it up at that first verse. Revelations 8 and 1. 8 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour.
Go ahead.
And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God.
How many?
7 angels.
Go ahead.
And to them were given 7 trumpets.
So now, we got these 7 angels, right? Each one of them was given a trumpet. So now, let's skip down to verse 6 and continue.
And the 7 angels, which had the 7 trumpets, prepared themselves to sound.
Now, make notes of what happened when these trumpets start to blow. Go ahead and read.
The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up.
Go ahead.
And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain, burning with fire, was cast into the sea. And the third part of the sea became blood.
The sea became blood. Go ahead.
And the third part of creatures which were in the sea and had life died. And the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters.
So if all the water turned to blood, fish can't live in blood. Huh? They got to have water so they can have that oxygen so the gills can get the filtering thing done. But the water's going to turn to blood, and you can't drink blood. Go ahead and read.
And the name of the star is called wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters.
Yes.
Because they were made bitter.
Go ahead.
And the fourth angel sounded. And the third part of the sun was smitten. And the third part of the moon. And the third part of the stars. So as the third part of them was darkened.
Yes.
And the day shone not for a third part of it. And the night likewise.
That's that darkness. Go ahead.
And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound.
Because he's saying, whoa, 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 you got all this trouble already. You got 3 more trumpets yet to sound and 3 more vials of trouble to get poured on the earth. You already knee deep in trouble. So whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay? Which you can understand why Job say, hide me in the grave until your wrath be past. Okay? Because he knows what's coming. And if you know what's coming, and if you're going to be alive when the Lord come back and start making this trouble, you want your house in order. Okay? Or either you'd rather be in the grave sleeping. Okay? So now, let's stay in Revelation. Let's go in that 15th chapter. Because every time a trumpet blow, it's going to trigger one of them angels dropping trouble on planet Earth. Okay? Revelation 15, verse 1. Go ahead and read.
And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God.
So these angels, this is wrath of God, okay? Skip them, read verse 7.
And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials, full of the wrath of God, who liveth forever and ever.
So now, let's go into the 16th chapter, and let's start at that first verse. So we read the trumpets blowing. We could have went back and forth, but we just read a few trumpets. Let's look at these vials of wrath, okay? 16 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, Go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth. And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast.
Yes.
And upon them which worshipped his image.
And look, and I'm telling y'all, this mark of the beast thing, whoever get it are in trouble as soon as this goes down, okay? You can forget it. Go ahead and read.
And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man.
And we've already read that. Go ahead.
And every living soul died in the sea. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and was and shall be, because thou hast judged thus.
So the Lord has judged. Okay, skip down to 8 and continue.
And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire.
Yes.
And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over these plagues. And they repented not to give him glory.
Do we see that? All the way down to the end, people are going to have opportunity to turn back to the Lord and to repent. But it said right here, and they repented not to give him glory, and then they blasphemed the name of God. You already knee deep in trouble. Go ahead and read.
And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain.
Go ahead.
And blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds.
And again, they repented not. See, we are alive right now today, July 31st, 2021. We can do some repenting. We can do some changing. We can make some corrections and adjustments and get our house in order. Better late than never. But you can go ahead and get it done now. But we see right here, these people still wouldn't do it. Go ahead and read.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates.
He poured it on which river, brother?
Euphrates.
Go ahead.
And the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared.
So now, the way of the kings of the east, which are the Medes, which we call Russia today, they're going to cross and go over into Europe and start tearing it up as we read with those descriptions earlier, okay, that Isaiah told us about. But now, before we go to Joel 2, let's go into that 9th chapter of Revelation. Let's go Revelation 9. Then we're going to hit Joel 2. Revelation 9, brother. Let's pick it up at verse 13. 9 and 13. Go ahead and read.
And the sixth angel sounded.
So here's that sixth angel.
And
go ahead.
And I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates.
That's the river that we just read got dried up. Go ahead.
And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men.
Do y'all see that? 1/3 of all men gonna get killed at this time. 1/3 of them. That's a big number. How many men on this earth right now? Some millions, billions, huh? 1/3 of them dead. Go ahead and read.
And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000.
That's 200 million in a military. Go ahead and read.
And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision.
Yes.
And them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and of brimstone. And the heads of the horses was heads of lions. And out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone.
So now this is John writing this, brothers and sisters. And in those days, John had never seen the weapons that man used today, or the equipment they use, the tanks and the helicopters and the fighter jets. So he's just using things that he have a vocabulary for and things he have knowledge of. So he's saying, hey, these men riding these horses, they had heads like lions and fire issue out of their mouths, okay? Go ahead and read.
By these three was the third part of men killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths.
So again, he's saying 1/3 of men got killed. So now let's go into Joel chapter 2, because that's when that sixth trumpet blow, that's when it's going to really go down. Okay? We go in Joel chapter 2, Brother Tyler. Let's pick it up at that first verse. Joel 2 and verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain.
Yes.
Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble.
Why?
For the day of the Lord cometh, for it is near at hand.
So we see right here, it says, blow ye that trumpet in Zion. Hear that sixth trumpet right here. Go ahead and read.
A day of darkness.
Now, we've read this stuff already in other places. Day of darkness, go ahead.
And of gloominess. A day of clouds and of thick darkness.
And that thick darkness, yes.
As the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong. They have not been ever the like. Neither shall be any more after it. Even to the years of many generations. A fire devoured before them. And behind them a flame burning.
Yes.
The land is as the Garden of Eden before them.
So the land is like a Garden of Eden in front of this military. Go ahead.
And behind them.
And behind them, once they pass through.
A desolate wilderness.
Yes.
Yeah, and nothing shall escape them.
See that? See, look. The Russian military in Iran and China have a non-aggression pact. They've had this thing for a long time. They practice military exercises together. And we kind of figure that's who that is that's going to come across and go over into Western Europe to deal with the beast and the false prophet. To show everybody that this false prophet over there is not the man of God that people think he is. Okay? He's going to use some people that don't even believe in God to go over there and sack them, huh? He's going to take an atheist group of people to go over there and knock off the holy man. And everybody's going to see it happen. And they're going to do it, and they're going to kill babies, women, children, and elderly people. In the book, as we read, if you try to buy your way out of their trouble, they won't even look at your gold. You understand what I'm saying? Why would they when they can just kill you and pick up the sack and keep moving?
That's right.
Huh? Go ahead and read, brother.
The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run.
Yes.
Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains, shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoured the stubble. As a strong people set in battle array.
Yes.
But their face, the people shall be much pain. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war.
Yes.
They shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks.
And like I had said earlier, it's like if you go out and you kind of agitate an ant bed, and so all these hundreds of ants come out, and like you kill 2 or 3 of them, look like you didn't kill any, right?
Right.
It's going to be the same with this army. So many of them, if a couple of them die, it's like none of them died. 200 million men? Go ahead and read.
Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded.
And that's why it's going to really look like you didn't kill any of them when you killed 2 or 3 of them. Because they still coming. Go ahead and read.
They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run up on the wall. They shall climb up on the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief.
Yes.
The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining.
I don't know. I've lost track how many times we read about this darkness, but if you don't get when all this trouble going on, it's going to be dark on this earth. You should get it by now. How many times have we read it? 6 or 7? From 6 or 7 different people? Go ahead and read.
And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army.
Now these people, he's calling his army. They don't even serve him. But they're going to do exactly what he told them to do. Because we know he can use anybody to do anything. Whether you believe in him or not. Or want to serve him or not. Go ahead and read.
For his camp is very great.
Yeah.
For he is strong that executed his word.
Yes.
For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. And who can abide?
It said the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. And that's why the title of today's lesson is That Great and Terrible Day. It's going to be great and terrible. Great and terrible. Skip down, my brother, to verse 28. Verse 28 and continue.
And it shall come to pass afterwards,
Yes.
that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids. In those days will I pour out my spirit, and I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke.
Yes.
The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord come.
Yes.
And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered.
But see, we already went over that earlier. This ain't just about calling his name out. Because you could be calling on the wrong one. Better make sure it's the right one. And in the meantime, make sure your garment's clean, doing the things he told you to do. Okay? Go ahead and finish that.
For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance.
In Rome?
Zion and Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call.
Yes, sir. So now, let's go into Amos chapter 5. We keep reading the same thing over and over by these prophets, these apostles, and even Jesus, telling you about this day that's coming. It's going to be dark and gloomy. The trouble is it's just a little bit more difficulty is added when you can't see, okay? Trying to get out of the way. But when we finish today, you will see that if you are handling your business properly with the Lord, he'll have a spot for you to hide, and he'll protect you, okay? Amos 5, my brother, 18 through 20. 18 through 20. Go ahead and read it.
Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord.
We discussed that earlier. Nobody should be in a hurry for this day to come with all the trouble and drama that's coming with it. He said, woe unto you. Go ahead and read.
To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is dark.
Yes.
And not light. As if a man did flee from a lion.
Yes.
And a bear met him.
You ran from a lion. You got away from him, but a bear met you. Go ahead and read.
Or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall.
You ran away from the bear, leaned on the wall, and what happened?
And a serpent bit him.
And then a snake bites you. Ain't no escape, brothers and sisters. Your only currency, we read that your silver and your gold ain't going to buy you out this trouble. The only currency you have is some righteousness. Right. So you better hope you can be able to go in your wallet and pull some of that out. That's all you're going to be able to spend with the Lord is some righteousness, okay? You got away from the lion, the bear met you. You get away from the bear, then a snake bites you. Go ahead and read.
Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light?
Yes.
Even very dark and no brightness in it.
Ain't no brightness in it, just pure trouble. Okay? So now, let's go on to 2 Peter.